The Free Press, keeping press free and journalism clean.
To mark the anniversary of demonetization, ruling Bharatiya Janata Party will observe Anti-Black Money Day, while Congress will observe the anniversary of note ban as Black Day. Masood Rezvi, author of Tightening Noose of Poverty, explaining our viewers the theory of demonetization.
First of all, we will have to understand what is demonetization. So, as we know, demonetization is a government order which puts some currency out of circulation. Demonetization in the economic text, scholarly text, has been recommended as a technique to control, to curb inflation when it is going very high. It has never been recommended, in my humble opinion, as far as I know, in order to curb the what is so-called black money. Demonetization basically contracts the money supply, contracts the supply of the currency in circulation. The currency in circulation, if contracted, will result in a lowering of demand, and lowering of demand will have two effects. First of all, the prices will be put on a check, and since the prices will be put on a check, there will be a discouragement for production and trade, and therefore the economy is supposed to slow down. But then this is only the first phase. So, once demonetization takes place and if the currency comes to the banks, banks can create money supply many times, 8 times to 10 times, depending on what is the reserve ratio, the CRR and the SLR prescribed for the banks by the Reserve Bank of India. So, then the total money supply, the purchasing power in the economy, once the notes come back to the banking system, will swell many more times. So, now the question is whether this swollen money supply is going to go to the top of the wealth pyramid. There is a wealth pyramid. So, there are people on the top notch industrialists and entrepreneurs. So, whether the money supply will go to them or whether the money supply will come back evenly to the entire population. If the money supply goes back to them, it will basically have a robbing effect on the common people, because they paid the money and the money has ultimately multiplied and then gone to the the top notch people and has increased their purchasing power and decreased the purchasing power of the common masses. So, it depends how the money supply that has been created by the banks is going to be distributed. As I already said, at least I do not understand that demonetization is a recommended technique for cleaning the economy, and as the data say, the 86% of the notes which were demonetized have come back, 99% of the notes that were demonetized has come back to the banking system. 86% of the total purchasing power of the total notes issued was in the form of 1000 rupees or 500 rupees notes. They were demonetized. Out of that 86%, 99% has already come back. So, if the black money has come back and has become white, as the opposition is claiming, it has no effect on cleansing the economy. But on the other hand, the government claims that it has an effect, because the money which was earlier black, on which tax was not being paid, has now become accounted. So the tax will be paid on this. But it is not only about tax payment, as I said. It is on the effect of the on the money supply basically. So, this is it. So, the question whether the impact is positive or negative is again a very complex question. If we are going to answer the impact whether it is positive or negative, we will have to see different types of the economic variable. So, what is the impact on them? So, first of them naturally which springs to mind is the growth. So, as I said, the GDP growth, as far as I know and as I remember, was earlier to demonetization, it was around 7.1 to 7.9%, and now it has come down to 5.7%. So the first thing is that in 1 year the GDP growth has come down. So whatever the effect, again there is a debate whether it is the effect of demonetization alone or demonetization coupled with GST. So there were many things together. The second thing, which is in my humble opinion much more important, is the equitable distribution of wealth among the entire population. What I mean is not equal, I said equitable. So growth, if growth is coming, every section should grow, the entire economy should grow. If only one section is growing, it is not a healthy growth, you cannot call it a healthy growth. So whether it is going to redistribute the money more equitably or it is going to broaden the gap between the have and have not will have to be seen, but it appears that it is not going to redistribute income properly. Reason, as I already said, that the credit creation capacity of the banks has gone up very much, and banks, as you know, have put all of their funds in the coffers of the big industrialists, and those loans have gone bad, and the government is going to recapitalize those banks from the public exchequer, from the taxpayers' money. So if you want to ask me whether so far it appears that it will be having a positive effect or a negative effect, it becomes difficult for me to say that with a certainty that it will have a positive effect. I am not sure. Recently I was reading a very interesting article in the Harvard Business Review, which is published by the Harvard Business School, and Harvard Business School is one of the top-notch business management institutions in the world. So the article is about how other countries can learn from the Indian experiment of killing the cash. So there they have very clearly said that it was not well implemented. It was implemented with a sort of a dictatorial whim, which went against it and overriding the opinion of some very top-notch scholars, economists like Raghuram Rajan and others. So the data, neither the data nor the experts were in favor of the demonetization in that way. So naturally we can say that, we can conclude perhaps that even if it was necessary to go for demonetization, it could have been done in a better way. And you must be remembering that it was a long time for which even the ATMs were not calibrated for the new currency. They could have got it calibrated earlier. So all this shows that definitely it could have been done if at all it was necessary. Well, the media people know better about it, how many deaths were there and all that, but the very plain simple thing that as the statistics says that 90% of the Indian population was dependent on cash economy, not on cashless economy. So this 90%, again, let me again share another statistics. On the other hand, remember 50% of the wealth is with 1% of the people, and the other 99% are happy with the remaining 50%. And 90% of the Indian people, which was in the lower stratum, was dependent on cash. The cash was taken away without any prior notice from their pockets in the evening. They were having plans, they had saved it, then they just knew from the announcement that their cash had no value immediately, and they had to go through the rigmarole of all those changing the cash and all that. So naturally a big chunk of Indian people was had at least had the inconvenience of facing the demonetization. A cashless society, definitely things are possible. Again, the cashless society should develop, evolve slowly and slowly and slowly. And in my opinion, there is no cashless society in the world so far. Not even the best developed countries are not absolutely cashless. They do have cash. Of course, a big chunk of the business, yes, there is again a very beautiful statistics. In the earlier days of demonetization, in the immediate impact of demonetization, the cashless transactions peaked up. So it was thought that they have gone up, but the moment the again the new 2500 rupees note came in circulation and things, I mean cash stabilized with the people, it has again come down. So it was not a habit formed, it was just an emergency management. Corruption cannot be reduced from any law or any mechanism or any mechanics cannot reduce corruption. Corruption comes from inside, the way you think about things. If a person thinks that the entire purpose of his or her life is wealth maximization, running after the wealth, a rat race of wealth, corruption will never go. Corruption will go only if you will revive the high sublime value system of the East, of the ancient and medieval India, of the India which existed before the Britishers corrupted it. So if until and unless you go, you train every person about this thing, all the people, then only the corruption will go. Corruption cannot go through all these things. Definitely politics is involved, and it appears that the government was much more in need of just telling the people, look here, we are a very strong government. They can do things that the earlier government did not have the guts to do. We have the guts to do. But this way of ruling is always fraught with dangers of putting the public in trouble. And even the party or the ruler who is experimenting these things in trouble in the long run. So let us wait and see what happens.